Everybody, Ephraim Schwartz here, Eretz Yisrael, beautiful Gishmei, Bracha. And we're in my shul today, and we have an exciting week this week because we just restarted our minyan after 2 years almost that we haven't had our weekday minyan since Corona started. We restarted it this week, 8:30 in the morning. We've got unbelievable things. I'll give you guys a quick peek. We've got over here, show like this. And then we come in here, look at the olam is. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Chazdei Hashem. Kiddush room over here. And we come into the office of the Kupat Ha'ir, which is in my shul, which gives tzedakah out to the community. And it's an amazing week. It's an amazing week. We had incredible things that we've done this week. Let's get the right position. I'm not my usual position over here. And before we start, I want to first go ahead and say that this week's email is dedicated by the book family. It's sponsored in honor of Reb Chanoich Henech ben Rem Binyamin Halevi, an incredible yid whose yahrzeit is this Shabbos. He was somebody that was a musmach of Yeshiva University, lived in Muncie, was a tremendous Baal Tzedakah, a Geshmaka yid, a businessman, and a Talmud Chacham. And I'm sure he is getting tremendous nachas from his children, his grandchildren, who have a tremendous love of Eretz Yisrael and the love of Torah, and are following in his ways, and his neshama should have an aliyah this Shabbos. We're in this Parsha's Vayakehel. It's not often that we read Parsha's Vayakehel together with Parsha's Shekalim. And I have some great stories for you this week and some great insights that really just blew my mind this week. Perhaps one of the most talked about psukim this week, but really got me thinking about it, partially since it's Parsha's Shekalim. And so that we also, it's the week that we're talking about tzedakah. We're getting in the mood of tzedakah. And we come with Vayakehel, that the Jewish people are bringing their nedavos, they're bringing their trumas to the Mishkan, the gold and the silver, and everybody's bringing everything. However, there's one group of people that are not bringing, and that is, of course, as we're told, the Han-Nesiim, and the Nesiim, the princes, the leaders of the Jewish people, do not go ahead and bring right away. And what they do is, I guess this is maybe the first charity campaign that you have in the Torah, and we're told that the Han-Nesiim, let's find the pasuk here. Not in my usual form, so it's a little bit longer this week. But we have V'hanesi Yakol Ish Asher everybody brought everything to La Sheni Kol Meirim Shumas Hashem Kol Ish V'ish Asher Nad V'rucha, and all the women. And then it says V'as Hanoshim Asher Nasal Liban. They also did the Izim. V'hanesiim Heviu as Anshe Hashoyam, and the Nesiim, the princes, brought the filling stones for the choshen. However, if you look at the pasuk, and I'm sure you're familiar with this question, it says V'hanesiim, and Rashi says over here the word V'hanesiim. I can't see it; it's backwards. V'hanesiim is missing a yud. There's a letter missing, and the Rashi quotes the famous Avos Reb Nassan. Amar Reb Nassan, Ma ro nesiim lisnade b'chanukas mizbeach b'tchila. Why did they go ahead and bring the Mizbeach, which has nothing to do with over here, first? So he says, and they over here, they did not bring first. They said, let everybody else give first, and then we will go ahead, whatever they're lacking, we will go ahead and fill up. We'll write the check at the end of the day, and therefore it says it was lefikach, right? Because they were lazy in the beginning. Nechzra os mishmaisam, they're missing the letter yud. And it's written without that letter yud in their name. And a few questions, a few answers, just to go through this is an amazing thing, right? The question number one is why didn't they bring? Why wouldn't they bring first? Why wouldn't they? It says they were lazy. Okay, now it seems generous. We'll write the check at the end. But it's nisatzlu. They're considered lazy. In addition to that, even Rashi is strange. Rashi starts off, Amar Rabbi Nassan, why did they do the Mizbeach first? So, and that question is, why do you, that has nothing to do with over here. But whenever you're going to say something bad about somebody, always say something good first. That's just a side lesson. That's just an incredible idea. What were they thinking? And also, what's the punishment? That they're missing the letter Yud from their name. That's a punishment in the Torah that they're missing one letter. There has to be a midah connected midah there. There has to be a lesson that's in that. And on that note of missing a letter from your name, it's interesting. I saw him with Margalit Sefer, the Mapik Margolis. He was a student of Rosh Zalman Auerbach, and he says that the way to spell the name Auerbach, right, in the Altaheim was Aleph Vav Yud Ayin Reish Beis Ayin Chaf Aleph Chaf or something like that. Full. He put out all the letters in there, and whenever he would write his letter, he would sign his letter names writing that way, Auerbach. That's the way it's pronounced. However, in Israel, what happens, just like I guess I'm not the only one. See, when I moved to Israel, they took my name, Schwartz, and they took off an aleph. They said, no, you don't need Shin Vav Vav Aleph Reish Tzadik. Well, they took a letter. It's the first thing they stole from me when I came to this country. So I guess I'm also like the Nasiya, missing a letter from my name, right? So Auerbach, they said, well, you need an ayin and an aleph there and this and that. Auerbach is aleph, vav, yud, reish, beis, chaf. That's it. And they took a letter from his name also. And however, it's interesting that his students notice, or Margalit says, he says whenever he would write mail, he would put on the front of the letter Auerbach with the Israeli way of spelling it, but inside the letter itself, he would write the proper way. And they asked him why. He said, because, people here don't know how to read my name. They're going to get confused about it. And therefore, on the mailmen, the postmen, they're not going to know who it is. And so therefore, he wants to make it easier for them. He's thinking of every single person. Right? Similarly, as well, Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, he writes, would always sign his letters, Chaim Shmulevitz. However, there was one time his students he wrote on the front of the envelope, Harav Chaim Shmulevitz. And they asked him, why, on the front do you write Harav, to this one person you're writing to? He said, this person lives in a nursing home. And nobody comes to visit him. He doesn't know a lot of people there. And I figured that if I put Harav Chaim Shmulevitz, they'll say, oh, he gets a letter from a chashuv or Rosh Yeshiva, so then they'll treat him with more honor, and they'll go ahead and take care of him better. It's the thinking about every Jew. The Karen Oira says something incredible about our pasuk of Nesiim. He says, you know what the Nesiim's problem was? He said, you know what, these are simple people. Klal Yisrael is parsha people, parsha Yidden, and they'll bring gold, they'll bring this and that, whatever it is, but they don't have the high madregas, the high chashava madregas that we have. We can put all the kavanas in there, we can go ahead and do the kedusha, we'll go to the mikveh first, this and that. And so whatever's spiritually lacking from the avoda of the Jewish people, we will go ahead and bring. And what happens, right? The people, marbim ha'am lehavi, the people brought more and more and more, and not only on a physical level, but on a spiritual level as well. Take a look at my email this week. I've got a great story there for you, which you should subscribe to, Rabbi Schwartz at yahoo.com. And unbelievable story. And he says that there was so much on a spiritual level. They had nothing to last even to bring on a spiritual level for the Mishkan. And so you know what Hashem said? I'm going to send you a message. I'm going to take out the letter Yud from your name, from the Nesiim. You know what the lack of the letter Yud is? It's that you're missing the understanding and the appreciation of what a Yid is. Right? You're a Nasi. You're supposed to lift up the Yidden. You're supposed to see the holiness of the simple Parsha the Yidden. So he takes out the letter Yud to send them that message. But it gets better than that, because what do they bring? They bring the Avnei Miluim and they bring the Avnei Shoham. The Rashbam says, you know why the Avnei Miluim and the Avnei Shoham? The Rashbam is an incredible Rashbam. He says, Shaharei Shemois Shivtehem Ksuvim Alehem. He brings the Avnei Miluim because on each of these stones, it has the names of the Jewish people, the tribes of the Jewish people on them, right? You underestimated the Jewish people. You're going to be misaking that. You're going to bring these stones, and they all have the Jewish people's names. You're going to see the Kiddush. You're going to see the precious stones and the precious diamonds that the Jewish people are. That's the message of the Avnei Shoham and the Avnei Miluim that the Nesiim do. They're missing that yud. They're missing that ability to connect to Klal Yisrael. And they bring that back in there, and they restore it. And that's how the Mishkan is built. What an unbelievable story. Gedolei Hador today have the obligation to see in that the Kiddush of every Yid. I go around with people and we're seeing like simple Parsha people, farmers and this and that, and the Emunah and the Bitachon and the Hislavos of giving. So on that note, We have Baruch Hashem, the shul coming back. We have Shabbos, Parsha Shekalim. And I turn to you as we start every year our campaign, Parsha Shekalim, to ask you if you want to contribute to our shul. And this year, of course, we have Amir Hashem. This is your opportunity as well to support our shul with my book, the most enjoyable book you'll ever read about Pesach. Number 1 and number 2. I'm going to plug that a lot more over the next few weeks, but the book is $20 for one book, $36 for both books, plus shipping. And of course, any donation that is over $100, will get the schus also of supporting us and helping our shul, helping our community, keeping our minyan low, and getting those ruglach, getting those cholent. And in that schus that you'll be the first to give and message me, sponsor our email, sponsor our Torah, then Amir Hashem, we will all be zeichet to see the great Mishkan, the Migdash that we are waiting for. Have an amazing Shabbos, an amazing week.